to Beyond the Ring, a podcast that covers all things in the stock show industry from the informative to the insane, starring Ryan Rash.
When you are right, be quiet. When you are wrong, admit it.
And Dale Hummel.
Stupidity isn't punishable by death. If it was, there would be a hell of a population drop.
Now on with the show.
Welcome to Beyond the Ring. This is Dale Hummel, along with co-star Ryan Rash.
Hello, hello, hello.
Ryan, I pledge in current events today, no China, no politics from me. None.
Well, I'm not going to make that pledge, so next.
I would like to start off just by saying I'm racist.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah, I have to just own it. It just is what it is. I'm not homophobic,
Great.
if that helps.
Lovely. I'm so glad that you're not.
I'm not racist towards red, black, brown, or purple skin.
Uh-huh.
I am racist towards people that do not follow common courtesy or implement any form of manners. I refer to it as I guess, almost intentional ignorance.
Intentional ignorance.
Intentional ignorance. They choose not to give common courtesy or use any form of manners. Manners. We don't hear that.
Then you would be racist towards rude people, Dale.
Yes.
That's what you're getting at.
Yes, that works. I call it ignorance, rude. I think
there's a big difference in rude and ignorant. But anyway.
No, I think they go hand in hand. To a certain degree, they do. So do you
I'm not saying that you're not. I get what you're saying, but I think where you're going with this, it's more. You're talking about actions. You don't know their actual intelligence without talking to them, at least.
Oh, I can get a vibe for it. It's not good most of the time. I agree. There are exceptions to it. There are some very intelligent people that are rude and do not have manners and do not give off any form of common courtesy. You are very polite to others.
I literally told a woman in a hotel bar this past weekend that I did porn. Okay, I don't think that I'm the nicest person in the world.
No, I'm saying if you would open a door for an older couple and things like that, no question, you are probably as well mannered as anybody, partially because of your Southern upbringing.
Until they do stupid questions,
yes,
stupid shit. That's when I get.
At that
see,
point,
I am racist to ignorance. There is no doubt.
Yeah, and it's good, right? And I had a recent trip this weekend that brought me to this. So every time I go out in the public outside of the stock show arena, I'm extremely disappointed with the populace. Extremely.
I think
you see this all the time at the bar life. I do. Yeah. And when I go outside the bubble, I just want to get back in the bubble because I don't like what I see. I don't see any, I mean, on occasion, you'll see some manners, and I think there are some very good people out there, but the proportion of people that are going further and further away from common courtesy seems to increase all the time. Or maybe I'm just becoming more aware of it.
No, I think that you are onto something there, but I don't think you understand the real reason why it is more occurring, of an occurrence now.
I would like to know.
Rona.
Do you believe that's it?
Yes, I do. I absolutely do. I think that, and I will preface this by saying that part of my opinion on this is because not just us in this industry, but in everyone, we were all locked down and couldn't get out and couldn't do anything and all these other things. And I thought that this would be the Great Awakening where everybody would be so grateful that they could go back out and enjoy the things that they wanted to do in life and all this other stuff, and everybody's attitudes would improve great. And I have never been so disappointed in my life. I think it's the opposite. I think it just made people more selfish and, as you said, rude and only out for themselves, and they don't give a blankety blank about anybody else. And so I really do think that has a significance to it.
I think you're right, and you're going to make me go back on my promise, my pledge.
Oh,
so we can blame this on China. Rona.
Yeah.
China gave us Rona.
No,
Rona
you're right.
Gave us people that no longer.
And the one thing about it, I don't, when Trump first, said that this was the China virus or whatever and all this other stuff, and you can go to Twitter, all these places that wouldn't let these stories coming out of its origin. And now we have government agencies all over the world saying that, yeah, this was created in a lab in China. So, yes, that is correct. But
we can.
I mean, here we are almost 4 years later now to get to that point. But I really do think that has a significance to it, because not just in the show world, but in everything, I do get what you're saying. I do understand what you're saying. And I do not think people are nearly as considerate as they used to be anymore. I do think that it is like just something in them that because they were inconvenienced for half a year or, however long it went for that individual person, they're just like, screw the world, I'm only out for me and I'm going to do what I want to do.
I see that. I unfortunately see that. And on a positive note, when I compare the stock show arena people that I'm around, it is way better there than it is in the populace. That bubble you talk about me staying within, it may not be as good in the stock show world as it was, but it's drifted far less. And
I agree with that.
I can use an example. In Las Vegas, I usually go during the NFR, and the group of people, when I'm walking down the strip, you're going to get a portion of them that are there for that reason. And it's a much better group of people than what I experienced this past weekend. I felt dirty once I walked down the strip. I felt like I needed to go to the room and shower. I
just don't even know why you would walk down the strip. I just don't understand the concept.
Just to get from point A to B without having to fight the traffic or call a Lyft or an Uber. I used to enjoy the people watching. I can't say that I do there anymore. It's just not.
I think you have to go down to, I'm being honest, I think you have to go down to Fremont Street for people watching now.
Yes, I would agree completely. And I'm good. I enjoy that a great deal. That's much better people watch. At this point, the strip, you're going to people watch the homeless and the people that I'm talking about right here. I call them the ignorant, you call them the inconsiderate.
I know. Well, I'm sorry you did not have a better time in Vegas. That's just tragic. But I'm going this week, and I'm going to have a great time with them.
And what is your what is your main focus for the weekend? What is your goal?
I don't have a goal other than
yes,
to have a good time.
We discussed this earlier.
Oh, yes.
I made one request.
Yes, Dale wants me to learn how to count cards. This is going to be great. Yeah, wonderful.
Now, I did attempt this past weekend. I did not make a lot of money. I did not lose a lot of money, but I did make the effort, and it's not as difficult as people think. And I believe if you could become proficient, if at least two of you could become proficient at it, I think there's money to be made there. And I think it would be enjoyable money made. And just for the world, it's not illegal. It is not illegal. What can they do to you, Ryan?
Well, I don't know how they can prove it. I think that's why it's not illegal.
It's only human nature that if you're being dealt cards and a certain portion of them have been all face cards, well, the tens have kind of left the deck, or a smaller portion of them are left in the deck. It's not. You can't be thrown in jail for counting cards. You can be thrown out of the casino if they suspect it, and they will not allow you back.
Well, that's the thing. I think they can suspect all they want, but I don't think they can prove it because it's all in your head. They can't
unless now the more advanced ones will have signals, wiring equipment, things like that. I'm not promoting any of those, but Ryan, if you and I were to just sit down and manage to count cards, I believe signaling one another would probably be negative. I don't know. I found that I can do it when there's only two players playing at the table. I can keep up without too much trouble. And that was just my first time trying. But I think with a little bit of effort, I feel very comfortable that I could stay with it. And I have no question you can do it.
There you go.
Willing. Yes, so please try. Uh-huh. And then we will go back in a week or so together and see how it works out for us. I'm very, very excited about this.
I'm glad that you've announced it to the world, too.
You do not feel bad about taking money from a casino?
No, not at all.
Okay, that is the goal.
That is the goal. Okay. Well,
what do you have for current events?
So, again, and this is all we're going to talk about for another year, or a lot of, not all we're going to talk about, but it's going to be the focus. And here we are in the presidential election and all this other stuff. And the CNN is a very interesting news network to me, because I have never seen a mainstream media news network just literally flip a switch on a guy like they have Biden. And it's been, I don't know if it was just because he announced that he's running for president again and now they're going to throw him under the bus. Because, again, Fox normally does a pretty good job of keeping it fair and unbalanced, like they say. I think it skews Republican somewhat, but not nearly as bad as these other ones skew liberal. And so, but now it is just like Joe's got to go. That's the basis of CNN now. And you would have thought, again, talking about ignorance, if this was their plan and this is what they wanted, and the Democratic Party or whoever all these people are that, have influence on places like CNN, you would think that they would have done this before he announced to maybe put thoughts, doubts in his head.
I think that's exactly right. And I think the reason that they're doing it is different than your reason. I think it's because they've come to the realization with the horrendous poll numbers that he can't win. So if he can't win, they want him out. They want somebody in there that can win. It seems very clear to me, but it's interesting the timing of flipping the switch, like you're getting at.
Right. And so, just yesterday, and again, these people have control over what goes on this network. They don't have to report these poll results if they don't want to. Does that make them, biased or whatever? Sure. But this was their own poll, whatever. They don't have to do this. But poll yesterday, on CNN, Biden's approval rate is at 36%. That is the lowest of any president in their first term in 80 years. 80 years.
Nixon and Carter were the other two that were close to that. Is that correct?
I can't remember, but 80 years. Yeah. 80 years. There's never one been that low. And so then they showed, and okay, so that's about enough. That's a terrible number. Okay, terrible number, but that's about enough. Then they go further to show that both Trump and DeSantis beat him in a election right now head to head. Trump got 44% of the vote to his 34. DeSantis would have got 42 to his 46 or something. But they both, Trump had a bigger percent, but they both beat him in a head to head. Now, you don't publish that if you're on that team. You just don't. I don't know.
That's. I don't think they're on the Biden team anymore. I think they're off the team. Period.
Well, then who is their chosen one?
I think it's the
anybody other than Biden.
do you not think it'll be Kennedy? Do you think it'll be Hillary? Who do you think?
I don't know. I don't know because he is running. He's running. He's announced. It's so, again, unless, and Hunter's shenanigans seem to be catching up with him more every single day. And now there's implications that maybe Joe was in on all this and something came out today.
There's no maybe. We see it.
Well, there's evidence. I'm not saying maybe, but there's evidence
that's been there
emerging.
For a year or more. It's been there and we still do nothing.
I don't know.
Yes. You read some of the emails that talked about how he has to give 10% to the big guy?
Yeah,
and he wouldn't do that to his kid?
Okay, here's the whole thing, Dale. The big guy does not say Joe Biden. We all know who that means, but that doesn't, it's not whatever. There is new stuff coming out now, today, that Joe's copied in the emails. Joe's mentioned by name in the emails, all this other stuff during, the Obama administration. So this is all starting, whatever. But I do not see, other than him being impeached, and it's sticking, which again, I think that takes a 3/4 vote in the Senate, but sticking, or him or Hunter being under criminal charges, which Trump is under criminal charges. It's not stopping him. So I
think it'd have to be Joe, not just Hunter. I can't imagine at a very minimal level is my prediction. He will be under criminal charges, but for a minor violation relative to what the big picture is.
And I know that won't stop him from running for president, but I'm trying to figure out what is going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back here on him saying, okay, you know what? I thought I was going to do this, but I'm not. And I don't see that. So they got to put somebody else up, or they're just, because CNN would rather us be governed by the Chinese Communist Party than Trump be president again. I'm just going to tell you that much. And so they're bashing Joe, but they don't. Is there something we don't know? I don't know. It's very interesting. Very, very interesting to me. I get more confused the more I watch the news. But, I guess that's what it's for, is to make us confused.
No, I enjoyed it. I kind of backed away from it for a few days, and it was great. I'm good. I did hear about Biden controlling our dishwashers, that gas we can't have a dishwasher, gas stoves. 3.5 gallons of water is all the dishwashers allowed to use moving forward.
Democrats sent out something today, and it's called, they're labeling it, or at least Fox did, the attack on gas stoves.
Isn't it incredible? Mm-hmm. Natural gas, which we have a plethora of in the United States, and it's a very clean burning gas, yet we're going to wage political war against using natural gas. What's the reasoning behind something like? How can they justify that? They don't have to. That's the problem. They don't have to justify it. And it goes back to the ignorant populace. They don't know any better. They assume, gas stoves must be bad. I don't know.
Something.
It's sad. I'm going to take everything back to the ignorance of the populace.
There you go. Also, and this is not really current events, but I do find it's funny. So, again, King Charles is no longer Prince Charles. He's now the king and all that wonderful stuff and whatever. But, I'm being very serious here. I'm going to assume there were probably over 1 million pictures from the media outlets over the world and all this stuff taken of this ceremony. Would you disagree with that? Probably more than 1 million, but let's just go there.
I would agree with that. And to qualify that, I met a family in Vegas from London. Oh. And it was like a group of 7 or 8, a couple different families maybe combined. And I was just visiting with them about where they were from. And actually, for me, I was being very social, Ryan.
I was going to say, I didn't know you talked to strangers, but anyway.
Well, I wanted to find out their opinion on the world and Trump. Oh. That was my goal. I did have a reason, and that's usually my problem. Every time I speak with somebody, it seems like it has to be a reason. I don't understand just talking about the weather like you say. I'm just not good at it. Yeah. So I asked them about it, and they said, well, they came to Vegas for 5 or 6 days to avoid the coronation. They didn't want to be dealing with that mess and the media, and I get it. They just got out of town. Unfortunately, I don't think we agreed upon Trump, because they actually brought it up and said, well, what do you think of Trump? You can imagine where I went with that one.
And then they left you?
They just went quiet. Totally quiet. We were in a van together riding to the desert. We were en route to the Mojave Desert to go. They were going UTV riding, and I was renting a dirt bike. Oh. We had a very silent trip from there on. The conversation ended. Well, no response at all after my rant. None.
Damn it. Well, I just find it funny that I think there was probably easily over 1 million actual photos taken at this deal. I never saw one where the new king and the queen looked anything other than miserable and dead.
I think that's a common look for the royalty there. It just is.
No, Queen Elizabeth never looked like that.
Oh, I thought she looked dead 20 years ago.
She looked old, but these people look like they are literally
almost a frown stone face.
And their heads are hanging low and all this other stuff. And Camilla has given
probably tired.
Camilla has given every side chick in the world hope. Okay. You go from side chick to Queen of England. Okay. So
that's a pretty good jump.
And here she is. They've got this crown on her head, and she looks like it's about to break her neck, and she's gonna. It was wild.
She got a crown as well.
Oh, yes, she was coronated. She is the Queen of England.
But we don't. I think I thought you either had a king or a queen, not both.
No, you have both, but only the one that's in the bloodline, like King Charles. He is the ruling sovereign. But you do we
do refer to her as queen,
right? Queen Camilla. Just now, I think what you're getting to is Queen Elizabeth's husband. that recently passed before her. I don't think he was referred to as king.
Yeah,
but I don't understand. But it is Queen Camilla.
I believe that's discrimination.
I agree with you, and I don't think anybody should call that lady queen. But anyway, but I found it so funny, and like nobody likes them, and all this other stuff. So
I think those in England do.
You just said people left.
Well, that's one family that left. Maybe I don't know. I don't know if it's because they didn't like them or they just didn't want the chaos. I don't know, but I think there's a portion of the population that's diehard for the royalty. Now,
well, he's 74, and I don't think he's gonna make it to like 112, like Queen Elizabeth did.
Who is next in line? I don't know.
William is next in the line of success, and I do think there is a lot of love for William and Kate out there, not just in England.
He's still eligible. He hasn't defected or anything.
No, that's Harry. That's the redhead that he defected.
Yeah,
he's gone. I can't believe that Harry's still alive. Just to be real honest, but. Now, I do think that there is a lot of love for William and Kate. And I do think now when it's their turn, look out. But
which could be soon.
Very soon. Because this
next 10 years.
I mean, I don't see this man making it much longer. But I just thought it was and again, Queen Elizabeth, she was, 99, I think, when she died. Maybe. Very, very, very old. Anyway. But even in her photographs up at the end, while she looked 99 years old, like she would have a smile, she could, you know what I'm saying? These people literally looked like they were miserable.
And I think Queen Elizabeth had a positive impact on the world in general.
No, I do too. I think this man will leave nothing. Absolutely nothing.
I don't know anything about him. Zero.
He's
I believe he was married to Princess Di at one time. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
See, that's about the extent of it. That's not much.
Well, 74 and he's got his first job. But, there we are. So,
is it time?
Oh, sure.
For BTR JLA news?
Yeah. Okay. Let me find it. So, this week we're going to do top 10 junior cattle. And I picked.
We have not done that. I'm
positive. No. I picked the absolute wrong top 10 to do, starting with the first name. First place from Spencer, Ohio, right now with 432 points. And Garrett, I am so sorry. Garrett Reusch, Reusch. I don't know. But anyway, that is first. Todd Danley from Texas is second. Grace Sauter from Ohio is third. Abigail Coing from Texas is fourth. Lacey DeSmith from Casa Grande, Arizona is fifth. Avery Sauter from Ohio, that's two Sauters in the top 10, is sixth. Keegan Steck of Minnesota is seventh. Zeb Murphy of Texas is eighth. Braylee Kreisinger, again, Braylee, I am so sorry.
It's a mess.
Hey, it was only two. Of Kansas is ninth, and Jace Taylor of Minnesota is 10th. So, congrats to those guys and gals for being in the top 10 in the juniors this week. And we have a regional sponsor that I would like to thank, if I can get my material pulled up. Here it is. Wireman Ranch. They were a Region 2 sponsor in 2022, and they are going to be one regional species sponsor in 2023 again. And they are a fourth generation family-owned row crop and cattle production. Operation is located on the far eastern plains of Colorado. The ranch raises Angus-influenced cow-calf pairs and have recently added club-calf genetics to the herd. In addition to the existing operations, they also have an AKC registered Bernese Mountain Dog and French Bulldog ventures, as well as, and this is the fifth generations of Wiremans that are breeding and selling show stock, livestock, and now cute puppies, evidently. And we are very, very thankful to Wireman Ranch and the Wireman family for being a regional sponsor, not only in 2023, but also in 2022. So thank you very, very much.
greatly appreciate it. I noticed that between Ohio and Texas, in your reading of the top 10, they took 60% of the honors in that top 10.
Yes, they did.
Ohio and Texas. Minnesota's pushing, I think.
Minnesota was in there twice, and then one Kansas and one Arizona. So
it's a battle.
Arizona always is strong in January, and then people catch up. I think Arizona is the only state that has shows in January. But they did well all the way through last year. I'm sure they will again. But one of the reasons why is because, again, Texas and some states are spoiled. They've got lots of different ways to go through regions and species and, series and all this other stuff. But a lot of these states, we are it. And so that's why you see these states that you may not have heard of and think, because I can't tell you how many times last year people were like, how are all these Arizona kids kicking everybody's ass? I'm like, they go and show.
They have a lot of shows.
They go and show.
Yeah.
So
that's great. That is awesome. Well, Ryan, when I got back to the room in Vegas one night, Waterboy was playing. I felt obligated to watch it until I fell asleep.
I'm sure you did.
I did. With that, ShowFresh H2O is a strong supporter of the Junior Livestock Arena. Please give them a try. There's no single factor that will impact your show stock more than hydration. ShowFresh H2O can be purchased at your local farm store, supply trailer, or at swampfox.com. Thank you for supporting this podcast and the junior livestock industry.
Thank you, ShowFresh H2O, for giving Clifton a check again this week. We greatly, greatly appreciate it.
We do. Clifton does a lot for us. He tells us what time. It's all good. All good. Very organized. Main topic, title, defined just a few minutes ago by Ryan. Keyboard champions.
There you
Keyboard
go.
champions. I love it. I love it. And we are under time restraints because of Clifton today, by the way.
I'm sure it'll be fun.
Because I know how long you could talk about this. I'm just trying to.
This could be like a 5-part series, and I could tell you all the things y'all are doing wrong. But I'm going to try not to. But we haven't had a social media. We had social media etiquette once, but I think it was in the
very early.
I think it was in the first 10. And we talk about it on here a lot, but I think it is time to have a little refresher course.
I think Callie was on that one, so I think we were less direct.
Right.
She's a very polite young lady.
Yeah, she is.
In public.
And I am not, obviously, as I alluded to earlier. But I just thought we needed to have a little refresher course about some things. And I love social media, obviously. I use it a lot. I think it is a very good tool. I think it is something that, it does keep you involved in your friends and family's lives that you maybe don't live close to them, whatever. I think it has wonderful properties. And I think
you are more social media aware than anyone I know. Period.
Probably. And again, when I talk about this throughout the day, I'm going to be the first to tell you that I put a lot of stuff about my personal life and other things on social media, and I am fine with it. Because if y'all haven't noticed by now, you're probably never. I really don't give a blank what anybody thinks about me. I just do me, and so it is what it is.
I think what you put up there is not airing your dirty laundry. I think it's more for entertainment.
Right. But I mean, again, it's still giving people insight to your life and stuff like this. And people can talk about me or whatever, because I don't care. I'm that secure in me and who I am and whatever that I don't care. And so when I say these things and when I tell you about stuff that I think we see people going wrong, I also want you to know that when I put the stuff that I put up on social media, I do it knowing full and well that somebody could say, oh, can you believe he posted that? Or, oh my God, did he really say that? Or, what? I get it, but
I don't know how Facebook doesn't take you down. Like the business account, anything I put up there gets shut down. You never do on your personal page.
No,
I think it's just the difference between a personal page and a business page.
Maybe, but... And so I just want everybody to know up front, I know what I'm doing. I know what I post. And I'm also going to tell you at the same time that I restrain myself a lot on it. And so, again, but and I also want everybody to know that I do not think that there is anything wrong, whether it's a business or personal. is using social media to promote yourself, promote your business, promote your show stock, promote your children. I think everybody should be proud of their children and their accomplishments. I really, really do. And I see posts all the time. I know we're not supposed to be proud, but this is what, little Johnny did, whatever, all this stuff. I think that's bullshit. I think you should be proud of them.
Yes. No, we're not supposed to. We should be very proud.
Right. And so I think that is all great. And
it does not matter if that's a county fair or it doesn't matter.
Right.
Everyone has different goals and put it out there. Those are good.
I see nothing wrong with you posting a picture of whatever you are, breeder, broker, mom, dad, grandpa, whatever picture. We won this, whatever. I see nothing wrong with that at all. And I do think it is good promotion, it is good advertising, it is all the things. And we have, in other episodes, we have talked about how that is part of the game, and that a lot of times people see that. They may not know that they're judging said animal in 2 months and be like, oh, I remember seeing that one won something. I saw that on Facebook. And they think it to themselves. And so all part of it. Don't think there's anything wrong with that. What I want to focus on is primarily two different things. And the first thing is a lot of times, and I've heard this so many times, I just wish everybody would stay out of my business and just whatever. Okay, well, it's hard
on social media. Post on social media.
Right, or in person, or any, people tell me, why can't everybody just mind their own business? Or on so, well, when you keep putting your business out there for everyone to see, you're inviting them to be in your business. Again, I do it all the time, and I don't care what y'all think about me. So go right ahead, read what you want. But I do think there is a thing. You want all these things that come with social media, but then when something goes wrong or isn't perfect and whatever, then you want everybody to shut up and mind their own. Well, it doesn't work that way. It just doesn't. Life doesn't work that way. And so, again, be mindful overall of what you post. And I think I know I've shared it with Dale. I don't know if I've shared it on here, but there's a lot of times where I get just fuming mad over something.
And I have to listen to it more than not just once, multiple times.
And I want to sit there and write a novel about it. And most times it has to do with the livestock shows and stuff like that. And a lot of times I have written it out and then I will send it like Callie. And I'll be like, okay, I'm not going to post this, but this is what I want to do. And 9 times out of 10, by the time she has read it and come back, I've already deleted and said I'm not going to do it anyway. But I think...
Great plan.
But that is how I check myself. I'm serious because I know... I think for me, just the therapy of writing it all out. And I'm talking about I write it out on a post and then I just don't post it because I'm like, you know what? This isn't going to do any good anyway. It's just going to make enemies and whatever. So I'm just not. But I think you probably always need someone to check you or a buffer or a barrier or maybe just wait, 30 minutes and whatever. Because if I literally every time that I felt there was injustice or got pissed off or whatever and wanted to post something, y'all wouldn't be able to keep up probably with social because I just and y'all would think that I'm a crazy person, which I am, but y'all would have more evidence to that fact, I guess. So I think that you probably need a buffer, you probably need a barrier or checkpoint or something because and there are still times that I think you should go on and send it. And I'm just going to send it anyway. And I've done that before. But just remember when you're in the heat of the moment and maybe, it didn't go your way. And I'm not saying, I'm just using this as an example. Like somebody writes, oh, we got county faired or this judge sucks or whatever you put up there. And you put it up there and 5 minutes later, you're like, damn it, I shouldn't have done that. And you delete it. Here's the problem. The problem is somebody's seen it and screenshot it and sent it to their 20 closest friends. And so it's never going to go away. Never, ever, ever.
Not only that, but once you take it down, it becomes more interesting.
Right. Yeah, because once you take it down, then they know that you shouldn't put it up there and feeling remorse about it. So then they spread it even more. And I do not know. I cannot understand this phenomenon. I don't get it. But this is just as real and true as I can be. It does not matter if it is about me or someone that I know, someone I hate, someone I love, whatever. Everyone has this thing and they screenshot it. Oh my God, did you see this? And I'm telling you, there will be people that I don't even consider an acquaintance, that if somebody posts something shitty about me in a comment or something, I've got 15 people that some of them, I don't even have their phone numbers in my phone. Oh my God, they wrote this about you. I don't know what that phenomenon is. I do not know why it is everyone's gut first knee-jerk reaction to screenshot that and send it to the person involved or someone that they know will get it to the person involved. But it is a real thing and it happens. So I'm telling you, once you put it up there, you might as well just leave it because it's there in some form. It may not be on social media, but it is going to get around.
No question. And I think you're dead on there, Ryan. And I do become, I don't even, I guess I'm not irritated in the fact that they complain about getting into their personal life, but I can't even comprehend when I'm just scrolling through things and I see this post that they're just airing all their dirt. They're very angry with a breakup, a divorce, whatever it may be. And it's just, I don't need to know these things. I don't want to know these things. I do not want to be exposed to those things. Yet they put it out there, and I don't understand why. I don't understand the personality behind something like that would drive them to do such. You surely understand this better than I.
That's why I talked about the buffer, the barrier, that person or whatever that you need to have, that one person in your life to say, you know what? Do you think this is a good idea? And like, I have several, but I do think that you need that because I agree with you. Yeah, marriages fall apart, business relationships fall apart. You're not going to like every judge that you show to. You're not going to like every show that you go to for one reason or another, all these other things. But I don't understand the number of people that just put stuff up that it is not going to do you any good whatsoever to put that out there. It is only going to cause harm. And again, I'm not saying just because this is your life and you can choose to post. Yes, I get that. But your life is not really just your life. If you have kids, everyone has family members, everyone has business associates, all this other stuff. And like I'm telling you, when you do that, even though it's your personal Facebook and it is your life and you can live it the way you want to, God knows I do, it still has an effect on a whole lot of people that are indirectly related to you. And I think we forget that. And I'll give you a perfect example. I can't tell you how many times I'm going to pick on a group of people right now that I normally don't pick on. And I defend you guys and gals more than anybody in this industry. And that's what they call the professional fitters or whatever, you want to say they are. A lot of times, they are the ones that get on there and will talk trash about an animal, talk trash about a judge, whatever, yada, yada, yada. And again, it's not all of them, but I do see this a lot from this group of people. And I'm the ones that defend y'all more than anything else. And forget that. Don't forget that when you start sending me hate mail after this. But you're the ones that go, oh, well, we got county faired, or this animal got screwed over, what is it, barn favorite, all the other shit that they put up there, whatever, and all this other stuff. And I'm going to be honest with you, I think a little bit of it is because you probably aren't the parent. You aren't the breeder. You aren't the broker of the animal. You were just there helping out, but you put your heart into it and you cared about it and didn't work out that way. So you're going to lash out this way, but it affects all those people that are also attached to that animal that you're not thinking about.
What about the person that won?
That is the speech I give so many times. Again, especially at county fairs, I talk about the fact that before we, go and put something on social media or scream and yell at somebody or throw a fit at a show, all this other stuff, just remember, what if it was your kid that won and you saw someone else doing that when it was your child's moment to shine and in the sun, or you saw the nasty social media post about how I got beat and it sucked or whatever, all this other stuff, and it was your kid that won. Your reaction is you're going to go rip that person's head off their shoulders because anybody would feel that way. I have felt that way. When a kid of mine that I sold one to or something, somebody put something, I wanted to go find that person and do violent harm to them right then. I get it. And so just put the shoe on the other foot and remember that, we're not always going to win. We're not always going to lose. But if someone else acted in the ways that we're talking about or posted on social media terrible things when it was your child's moment in the winner's circle, you would not be happy. So why do that to someone else?
Seems very, very logical to me, Ryan. I'm with you. I'm going to look at a broader picture, the big picture on social media. And what I'm concerned with, and this is going a little different direction than where we're at, and we'll circle back to it. But when I observe kids in public, my children included, not all of my children, but some of them are more attached to their phone than not. And Ryan, you are as attached to two phones as anybody in the world.
Yes, and I will admit it.
Yeah,
I sleep with one in my hand. I'm not joking.
No, this is no secret to most people.
No, I am very attached, like super attached.
My fear, because we don't want to disclose a girl's age, Ryan, but I'm going to say when you're a younger child, they didn't have smartphones.
I've had a phone since I was like 10. No,
smartphone, not the big bag phone.
No, yeah, I was going to say, no, you used to have to carry it in a purse. But yeah, I've had a phone since I was like 10.
So I don't, and there wasn't the social media, there wasn't all of these things. So as a child, you were not nearly as attached to your phone. You actually experienced real world.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think because of the youth attachment to the phones, that they're not getting real world interaction. They're not out there socializing. They're not experiencing some of the things that maybe other generations experienced. And I'm not saying in the livestock arena, they're not going to the bar and they're not doing this and that, but any extra moment they have, they're checking the phone between cleaning pins or whatever it may be. And this concerns me a little. I think it facilitates what we're seeing in the populace, that short attention span and desire for new information. And all of a sudden, something that was important an hour ago is no longer even relevant because I'm on to something else. And I don't know how to put it into words, but this is not a good thing. We need to be able to sort through it. And I can use your wonderful President Biden as an example. There's been so many catastrophes and so many issues that, let's say there's a dozen or more, that any one of those would have almost brought down another president. But our attention span as a populace just moves on so quickly that it almost gives them a pass to screw up time and time again. And relating that back to youth, I think they're looking for that instant gratification or instant news or update on what's going on. I don't even know what they're doing on there. TikTok, I'm sure a lot of times. But it concerns me that they have to continually bounce and seek that out rather than go out and experience life. I don't know how else to put it. That does concern me. I was once known early in my teaching days, Ryan, to refer to as social media as a social evil. That was prior to me using it as a business tool.
Well, I know lots of people that still feel that way. And I can remember just like several, more people than not, when the internet, we're not even talking social media, when the internet first came out, like it was the devil. And so everybody moves up and grows up and moves on, excuse me. But again, that's a very good point that you make there about how people live on their phones. And I'm guilty and I'm fine with it. And I've survived this long, so I'm probably not going to change.
And I live in a bubble, and I get that. I admit it. I don't know how there is an impact. And we talk about how indirectly, and they're smart about it, how TikTok can influence the direction or the mindset of a child or a person, or Facebook or Instagram or any of it, that there's more of that going on. And that's maybe what concerns that's the heart of what concerns me, is there's so much time. I don't like the fact that social media is able to direct your thought process, or a child's thought process, or manipulates, maybe a better word. That's what concerns me. I am with you 100% when I see that post that how do you can word it so much better, and you kind of did earlier. We just attended such and such, and we didn't do as well as we thought we would, but I think we were the crowd favorite. And oh Jesus!
Well, and that's that's the second part of this that we talked about, that you need to be more mindful of things and all this other stuff. And I also, and again, for somebody that posts a lot, I'm saying this, but there is no law that says that you have to post something after every show or everything. It does not have to be that way. And so if you're disappointed in the outcome, or you didn't have enjoyable experience and all this other stuff, think back to whatever. If you don't have anything nice to say, just don't say anything at all. Because the passive aggressive ones that you just alluded to, that we talked about when we were discussing this topic earlier today, well, this isn't how we wanted it to turn out, or not what we planned for, or whatever. And then they post that they were fourth and yada, yada. And then my favorite part is after this isn't what we wanted or what we worked for, but, Susie Q ended up sixth with her Friar Rabbit at the, county fair, yada, yada, yada. But, and then bitch, moan and all that. But you know what? It's okay. That's just how it happened. Obviously, it was not okay for you, because then you wanted to put this up there. Or, one person's decision one day. The passive-aggressive bullshit. Come on, people. Like, just put up there, you went to county fair, you got 6. Bye. Or don't post anything.
I mean, just to leave it alone.
Right. Just don't post it. Don't. You don't have to. But you will be surprised how those little comments that you think, oh, I can word this way and no one will think that I'm complaining or moaning or bitching or whatever, that not what we intended, not what we hoped for, not whatever. And we know it's just one opinions person one day, or that's just how it goes. No, we all know what you're saying. And it is those that get as much traction as anybody, because we're all sitting here, we're all reading it. Then 5 people will send it. They're like, why didn't they just call up XYZ, the judge, and say, hey, you screwed me over? Or, whatever. I mean, because it's the same thing. You think you're camouflaging it. You think you're hiding it, but you're not. And there is nothing that says that you have to post something. Again, and I go back to the fact that, yes, I post a lot of things all the time, but I've also talked about the fact that there's a lot of stuff that I don't post. And Dale...
Everybody would love to see it.
Right. And Dale and Callie can absolutely vouch for that, because there is a ton of shit that I don't post. And because I have your same feelings, I go through the same thing. I understand. But I make a conscious decision not to do it. Not only because it will reflect poorly on me, but also because it will reflect poorly on everyone that I care about. Because that's being part of a family or an extended family or having associates and business, all that other stuff. So you're not, and I keep saying this, but you're not, even though you say, I can live my life the way I want and I can do what I want. And yes, you can. And
there are consequences.
I do it all the time. If y'all think that the way that I am, I don't know that I am out there, all this other stuff, living a life that nobody else in this industry pretty much does as loudly as I do. Yes, I get it. But there are consequences to that. And I am perfectly fine with those consequences, and I accept them. I may not like it, but I accept them. The other people, it's very hard because, again, you just don't realize that, again, if the breeder of your animal puts up there, hey, didn't go the way we wanted, whatever, you know what? That affects the kid that was sold to, too. And I could literally go on for this topic for like 45 hours because it frustrates me so that people just don't think. And that's the bottom line. You just don't think. You just react. You put it out there. You put it up there. It never goes away. You can delete it, but it doesn't go away because somebody screenshot it. Somebody's on it. And so I would just think, instead of trying to be the keyboard grand champion when you weren't the grand champion in the ring, sometimes it is just better to be like Elsa in Frozen and let it go. And it's just not. I mean, you do, again, and I know that sounds, people are going to say, I cannot believe this sumbitch is saying this when he posts everything in the world. I do. But I post a lot, but I'm telling you, y'all have no idea the shit that I don't post. You have no clue. I mean,
you still fight Callie and I on a little bit of it. Sometimes.
Yes. And
I've kind of given up recently.
There are like, I'm telling you, there are 3 or 4 things a day I see that I want to like be like, okay, this here, this we don't need to do. This is what I don't. Do not. I because of just what we're talking about. Because it's, in the end, is it going to affect change? Probably not. Is it going to give people entertainment value? Probably is. But it's not going to be positive. And so the original intent and purpose of social media was to be able to stay connected with your family and friends and give updates and all this other stuff. And then it moved into a different thing. Now it is advertising, is business, all this other stuff. But I don't think it was ever intended to have negative impacts on industries, people, places, events, whatever. And yet, I think now more than ever, it is probably has as many a negative impacts as it does positive. And so we can all just take a breath and probably decide against trying to be the keyboard champion of the show when we didn't win the banner in the ring. And I think it'd help everybody out.
Absolutely. I think that's very well stated. I have one short, simple statement to make that I hope resonates. Maybe this will hit home and push that narrative a little bit further, that we have to think about it. Anytime that I am looking to employ a person, I will look at their resume. I will call references if I'm not familiar with that person. But before I do any of that, what do, Ryan?
I'm sure you go to stalk them on social media.
I do. And you're going to find their true character right there. A whole lot better than you are in that resume. All the resumes look the same. They just do. They've been coached to put A, B, and C down. So I get very little. But I'll tell you what, and I shouldn't probably put this out there, that has disqualified more people for me than it's helped. So think about it.
I don't think you're the only person that thinks that way, though. I think that's everybody. I mean, being very serious, I think that is by far and away the majority of businesses, regardless of industry, whoever is in charge of hiring, they do look at that. And I think it is just I don't know if anybody ever got a job because of something they posted on social media. I'm sure someone has, but I bet there has been a higher percentage of people that went into that interview with negative thoughts and feelings from the person hiring because of what they saw on social media.
Exactly. Well, that's good, Ryan. Do you have any final comments on your keyboard champions?
No, I mean, again, and I could go in depth on this for a long time, but we are under time restraints this week.
Clifton has a dater, I think. And no, he's married. What does he have?
I don't know, but Clifton never says that he has time restraints, so we're going to adhere to it.
Okay, question and answer. The first one comes from Megan. I often hear you both talk about allowing show families / exhibitors to have input on the judges that are hired by the shows. Are shows starting to follow your suggestions, and what can we do as show families to push this narrative? Good question.
Mm-hmm. I'm just gonna be quiet. This is gonna go back to that. This is gonna go back to that social media that we just talked about. Sometimes you don't need to say anything. I'm just gonna be quiet.
Oh, so I have to answer it?
You do not want me to answer right now. I promise.
Can we just skip it?
I'm gonna try to be restrained. More shows do need to take exhibitor input. I do think that shows should allow exhibitors or families to vote on judges, have a say, all of those things. I do think that some of this is starting to, it hasn't swept the industry, but I think you see more prevalence of it. I think the one thing, and we've talked about this, but I guess I'm going to have to say again, it is great that we are even to a point that this is starting to happen where people are getting input, getting to vote, all this other stuff, yada, yada, yada. There's got to be some transparency. And if you say that that's what you're doing and you're saying that you're letting the exhibitors vote, then prove it. Don't just say you're doing it and then send somebody out there with the person that you wanted. And on that, I'm going to shut up now.
Okay. No, that was restrictive. That was good. You followed your own guidance. So Megan, I will follow up, and I don't need to restrict at all or go any, it is what it is. I think there are. I've had many shows contact me and ask more questions about the best way to implement. And I'm sure Ryan's had a lot of inquiries from others about the same. So I believe it's hitting home hard at some of the county fairs, some of the jackpot shows. Some of the national shows are talking about it. I don't know that it's being implemented as I would like to see it. But I think we speak the loudest by each exhibitor voicing their opinion to superintendents and those that choose to implement and choose to allow exhibitor input. Those are the shows that we need to continue to support and make sure that we attend and participate. And as we have more of those happening, you have more and more choices. Okay, I have input in who's going to impact. I just drove 1,000 miles one way, and I'm under a judge that I really don't want to necessarily show under because I've had no input towards it, whether it be political reasons or whatever it may be. Well, then you don't go. It's just that simple. If they're giving those families, if they're giving those exhibitors, and I want it to be just those that showed there the previous year, not a social media vote or anything like that, but those that participated there the previous year to have that input. I hope that shows continue to move that direction. I know that we've stimulated the discussion. Now we need you as show families to push that narrative. And Megan, you can do that by simply asking that superintendent, how do you determine who's judging next year? Are you willing to take our input? Those kind of questions, and that personal interaction is going to go a long way. So please do so. Ryan, you did well restricting yourself.
I'm trying.
Okay, Joe gives us the next question. I have been away from the show ring for many years, and obviously trends change regarding type and kind, as well as how animals are presented. Before I jump in and purchase animals, how can I become more current with the type of animal I should purchase? Any guidance would be appreciated. I've learned so much from your podcast to the point you have made me realize I need help. That's very honest. I like that,
honest.
Joe.
Very honest.
Can you answer this one without any trouble?
Yeah.
Okay.
Couple of things. I think the first thing that you probably need to do is go to the largest, most prestigious show that is in close to you that you can get away and spend a few days just watching of what goes in the ring, what wins consistently, stuff like that. That's going to be something you need to do. Also, I think, again, like we say all the time, talk to people, whether it's at a show or a broker breed or whoever, whatever, talk to them, say, you know what, just like you told us, you've been out of it a while, tell me what I need to be looking for. Tell me what I need to. And people are going to be responsive to that and want to help you out. I know that in the next couple of weeks to months, we are going to do a 4-part series on trends in the 4 different species. Now, we're not going to do it 4 weeks in a row because that would be like 4 guests in a row. And I think maybe Dale and I might not be able to handle it because, again, it is very problemsome and troublesome to set up with just me and him, much less other people. But we are going to have a 4-part series where it's probably going to be every other week on trends in the different species, and that's fixing to start in the next couple of weeks. And so, again, you can listen to that. But way more beneficial than that is, I think, if you just go to a show, since you've been involved in shows before, if you just go to a show and watch, I think that's probably the best advice I can give you.
Excellent answer. And that is, there's no question. Just go, not just watch the show ring. Go to the back, watch how they're fitting, how they're presenting, all those things, and it will come back to you, and you'll see the changes and adapt. It should be good. The final question comes from Lisa. I am attempting to grow leg hair on my daughter's goats, and I'm having no luck. Everywhere I look, there are products that claim to grow hair. I see 0 results. Please help.
You are really
I will reserve myself. I'm going to exclude myself from this one.
You are just really trying to test me today, aren't you?
No, this is you.
You are just literally, you are just trying to test me today. Oh, I'm going to have to go to church after this. I don't even know if there's one open.
I did not have a large question pool this week for some reason. Maybe I missed, maybe I didn't go to the right place. I just go to Facebook. That's it.
Again, simple answer.
Do you disagree with Lisa?
No, I'm not. I mean, I'm sorry that she's having problems growing leg hair on goats. I'm very sad about that. I'm going to go back to everything in life, whether it's an animal, human, alien, is a product of genetics and environment. So the genetics you probably can't do a lot about unless you want to go buy a goat from Dale because he has the best leg shag of anybody. That's just the facts. The environment things you can change, and I hear that you've been trying everything, whatever. There are lots of different hair supplements, hair pills, all these other things that are on the market. Again, I can only tell you, and a lot of this stuff is new and recent, and so I haven't tried any of it. I don't know if melatonin would work on a goat. I'm assuming it would. I know in cattle, the only thing that when we were doing this consistently, and I was selling to kids, and that wasn't that long ago. I'm just saying. I mean, few years.
It was.
But melatonin implants were about the only thing that I would say that I believed in. But there has been a lot of advances and a lot of new products that people that I know and trust swear by. Unfortunately for you, it is just going to be like everything else. It's trial and error. And so, again, just like we kind of told the person, talk to people, go up to the people that have the really shaggy legged ones and say, hey, what are you doing to get this?
You were kinder than I would have been.
Well,
but
again,
accurate, I believe.
2 of these 3 questions are really hot topic issues right now that I don't need to be commenting on.
Well,
okay.
I'm gonna come in here, Lisa. I believe it's 90% genetics. Maybe that's a little high, but I do believe. I don't care.
That at the beginning.
Yes,
I said go buy one from you.
No, cattle. It doesn't matter. Shag on sheep.
She specifically asked about a goat, sir.
Yes, even on hogs, I think it's genetic. It just is, and you can't change a lot of that. Can you do things? I think Showcoat, that we use Showcoat, and I know they're one of the BTR JLA sponsors. I'm not just trying to push them, but I don't know what their product personally claims to do, but I know what it does for us, and that is it helps train and it conditions that hair and skin. It's immaculate. I mean, it allows the hair that we have to work perfectly and look the part. I cannot attest to it growing hair. I cannot attest to almost any product out there truly growing hair. If it did, that product would be used in the human world and it would be worth way more money going that direction. To my knowledge, there's nothing that significantly does that. Do I think that we can control the photo period through melatonin? Absolutely. Can we put them in a cooler and drop the body temperature? I think ambient temperature and photo period both impact hair growth.
I would not put a goat in a cooler.
Yeah, We have not. I have had clients that have had. I don't. Yeah, I'm avoiding that one.
I'm going to say no. I'm going to say don't do it.
So back to Ryan's melatonin. I am absolutely sure over a 60, maybe up to 90 days, we can block that hair cycle from happening where all of a sudden Mother Nature says, let's drop our hair. The melatonin is going to put them into complete darkness depending on when you give it each day and that you give it consistently. If you do not, you're doing more harm than good. So be careful. But I think it can block the photoperiod. And I think there may be initially when you start going on it, the change from a long photoperiod to a shorter photoperiod is probably going to stimulate hair growth. And then it's going to probably level off after a little while, but hopefully block it for a certain amount of time. In the cooler, same type of situation. I think you're helping block the hair cycle, and I think you're probably encouraging some hair growth. So, Lisa, I guess my biggest caution is careful. There's not that simple magic bullet. It does not exist. I promise you. That's the best I can do on it.
I want to retract my statement. I think you should put the goats in the cooler. I think this is a good idea.
I don't know about the humidity and moisture. I don't know. I just don't know. As long as they're eating.
Because I forget that, like, y'all leave them hairy most of the time until you shave them. So put a blanket on them, put them in the cooler. Maybe that'll work. I retract my statement.
They don't like, the goats do not like the cold. So maybe
a blanket. But
aren't you defeating the purpose when you put a blanket on them and then put them in the cooler? Aren't we working?
Oh, God. Yeah, I didn't think about that. Yeah.
So maybe let's bring our cooler up in temperature a little bit.
Yeah, because I'm thinking about a cattle cooler where you've got it like 40 degrees in there. I'm like, the goat is going to be the most pissed off. I mean, like,
I did have a very good friend of mine put his does in a cooler room. The whole building was air conditioned, and he had I don't know. He asked me what temperature, and I did, and I'm just thinking, well, let's put it at 50. That sounds safe, right?
Mm-hmm.
I show up weeks later. And these poor things, the smaller ones that didn't have a lot of body condition, when I get there, guess what's happening to them?
They're ready to die and skinny as hell.
They're shivering.
Yeah.
They're shivering and burning calories. So if you're going to put your goat in there, just adjust your temperature to where they're semi-comfortable. I never thought about it. I thought 50, that's plenty warm enough. But no, these goats do not like the cold.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, don't put a goat in a cooler. And they're like, I don't know. Maybe this could work. I'm gonna go. I have 2 coolers. I'm gonna go get a goat and see if I can ship me a goat down to see if this works.
Just great. Well, Ryan, thank you. And I know we're pushing time on Clifton right now. So with that, until next week, be safe.
Y'all come back now. You hear?